um, in the Unit 5 graphing lines. I'm redoing the lesson because I want to teach a couple different concepts. First thing I want to talk about is the three ideas of graphing lines. We sort of have been hitting on this, and this has been successful. There's basically, let's start with the basics, okay? First of all, graphing a line with a y equals and an x, okay? The second one is when it's just x equals, and the third one is just when it's y equals, okay? Now, what you do when there's a y equals and an x, okay? There will be a number here that is the slope. We've talked about this already. The number right here will be the y-intercept, okay? So here's the process. What you want to do is you want to plot the y-intercept, okay? So on the y-axis, okay, remember this is y positive, this is y negative. You want to plot that dot on the y-axis. Then what you want to do is use the slope, all right, go from the y-intercept, okay, and plot a second point. All right, now this is what's important, okay, on how to do this, okay. If your slope is positive, you go up and then you go to the right. If your slope is negative, you go down and to the right. So in essence, you always go right. You never go left, okay? Then what you want to do, the third part, is check, very important, that the slope matches a positive or negative. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. That's the most important thing. When you get done graphing your line, it should match if the slope is positive, the line should be going like this. If the slope is negative, the line should be going like that. If you did that wrong, you didn't go the proper directions. Now, the other ones, very easy. We've talked about the x equals. That is the bucks. Okay? So what you do, very simply, plot on the x-axis, okay? And remember, this is x positive, this is x negative, and then very simple, because it's bucks, you make a vertical line. That's all you have to do, okay? For y equals, we've been using Hoy. What do you do there? Plot on the y-axis, very similar to this one over here, okay? So once again, y positive, y negative. Then all you got to do is make a horizontal line, okay? And that's how you plot those three. Those are one of the basic ones we're going to start with, okay? All right? So let's go on. We're going to get this first one going. We have this. So what I want to do, I got a y and an x. So I want to start here. Here's my y-intercept of -4. Remember, y negative, y positive, okay? It even has the numbers on the grid. So at -4, I put a dot, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is, since this is positive, this is going to be up and right from this point. So up, 1, 2, 3, over, 1, 2, boom. Connect the dots. Okay, now, here's the most important part. The slope of this line is positive. Slope of this line is positive. Good shape. Always double check that, okay? Let's do another one. Okay, so here's my y-intercept. That is +3. Okay, so now what does this mean? This means down and right. So 1 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connect the dots. Once again, that's negative, that's negative. Good. If you would have went the other way, you would see that's positive and that's bad. Okay, all right. Now, let's look at this one. Okay, y-intercept, the 2. Okay, now this, somebody said, Mr. Evans, that's not a fraction. Well, what would that be as a fraction? That would be 4 over 1. Since that's positive, that's from here, it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 right, connect the dots. Okay, all right. Now this one, I've got my y-intercept of 7. Boom, 7. Now what would this be as a fraction? -6 over 1. What does that mean? 6 down, 1 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 right. Connect the dots. Most important thing, That's negative, that's negative. We're in good shape. Okay? All right? This one, y-intercept of -8, which would be right here. Okay? Now, what number's in front of x? 1. What is that as a fraction? 1 over 1. 1 up, 1 right. So 1 up, 1 right, connect the dots. Positive slope, positive slope. Good. The most important thing that you're going to do is make sure your slopes are correct. All right, now what number is here? -1. So as a fraction, that's -1 over 1. We've got a y-intercept of -5. That's 1 down, 1 right. 1 down, 1 right, connect the dots. Negative slope, good shape. Okay, now I got these. Okay, so x equals -4 right here. Now, x vux. So what does that mean? Vertical line. Okay, just the y. Okay, so I go to 6 on the y-axis. That's a hoi. So what kind of line would I make? A horizontal line. So always check that. Y equals horizontal. X equals vertical. Okay? All right. Then I got x equals 10. That's a vux. So x is 10. Vux means vertical, so that's what that line would look like. Okay, that's just a y, that's a hoi. So at -1, I have a horizontal line. Okay? So what I'd like you to do now is I would like you to pause your video and go ahead and work on the classwork up to those problems that you've seen. Once you get to the parenthesis ones, I want you to stop. Okay, at the end of this video, I will go over all the classwork problems. So just trying to get to the material. But pause your video, go ahead and go to work. Okay, now let's talk about, all right, the next type. Okay, we're going to talk about two ones where you have that are not in y equals, that aren't in x equals, not in that other y. Two types. We got some kind of parenthesis. Okay, I also want to talk about the ones like this. Okay, now very simply, here's what you have to do. You have to distribute, okay? We are going to distribute the number out front, okay? All right? Then what we're going to do after we distribute the number out front, we want to get y by itself using addition or subtraction opposite. And then we want to graph it just like we graph the y with the equals x process. Okay, that's sort of what we do. We're going to distribute. We're going to get y by itself using addition and subtraction. Okay, all right, then opposite. These other ones. Okay, if you notice, x and y on the same side. So this is x and y, same side. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take your x term and set it equal to your number. You are going to solve for x by dividing. You are going to plot on the x-axis. Okay? All right? Then you're going to take your y term, set it equal to the number. You are going to solve for y by dividing. You are going to plot on the y-axis. Okay, so this is 1, 2, and the third thing is you just got to connect the dots. Okay, we're going to keep this real simple.